Hi, it's Sienna, and I'm here to talk about um, how mysticism affects mental health, and specifically how the subconscious is communicated with via magical practices. So let's start about talking about the subconscious. What the heck is the subconscious? It is the part of your brain that holds feelings. It holds symbolism. It only feels and then relays that information to your cortical part of your brain in the front, your frontal cortex, which is the rational side. So, what we see though is that when we have mental health crisis, when we're depressed or anxious, what's really going on is that our subconscious is getting some information about our environment that makes us not feel safe or feel like we need to take some action. And because it's coming in from to the subconscious, there's no words to it, so we really struggle to make sense of it in our rational mind. Now, what that does is that it sets up our feeling mind with our thought mind, and then they do this battle inside of us that technically we know as cognitive dissonance, science speak for. My emotions and my rational mind are just not getting along. So when we do magic, though, it gives us a shortcut into that rational or into that subconscious part of ourselves where the rational mind can't really get to. Um, that way, when we're playing with symbolism, we're actually communicating to the subconscious, and more importantly, the subconscious is able to communicate back with us via the magical practices of meditation, of listening, of waiting, as they call it, waiting to hear the goddess or God speak to you. That's what it is. It's your subconscious giving you the symbols, the signals that it can't give you in plain words because it doesn't have that language center, right? The subconscious is the first part of your brain that develops when you're a baby. It's that brain stem, that fight or flight response that keeps us safe. So we really don't want to poo poo that too much. But what I will say is that um, a lot of people think, well, if I just make sense of it, then I won't feel this way anymore. Well, you can make sense of it all day long. Your subconscious is the thing doing the feeling, right? Um, so when we do magical ritual, what that does is it gives us a pathway into that center where we can affect some change on ourselves, especially when it comes to things like fixing behavior patterns we don't like of our own, um, correcting for life passages that may have gone in the wrong direction earlier in our lives. And we can get to that, what I mean by all that later. But let's just start with the reason that we have these emotional responses in our subconscious is evolutionary, okay? It keeps us safe. There's no way to turn that off, and you really wouldn't want to. But what you want to do is be able to understand it, to figure out, okay, why am I getting this response inside of me? Why am I behaving in ways that ostensibly I do not agree with? You know, I'm taking risks that I don't need to take, or that putting chemicals in my body that I shouldn't be putting in. So, if these are what's going on with you, we're talking about that cognitive dissonance. And if you can use magical ritual to get into your subconscious, maybe you'll find out why you can't quit smoking or why that sugar craving just won't go away, right? Because these are the things that we do that we really don't agree with if we take a big picture look at it. And so, why are we worried about using symbolism to talk to the subconscious? Because you can't just walk up to somebody and go, you'd feel a lot better if you quit smoking. They're not going to take that. Or they actually probably do know that, right? People know these things. Why do they keep doing it? because there's something in their subconscious that is powering this. Okay? But what at this point is real? Okay? What are we talking about? If you're doing a ritual, say, to quit smoking, and in your ritual, you crush up a pack of cigarettes and you throw them away as a symbol to your subconscious that you don't want them anymore. What's going to happen from your subconscious is you're going to start bubbling, getting all these emotions bubbled up in you about your smoking habit or whatever it is you're trying to quit. And you'll understand why it's so important to you. And with that understanding, you can take better actions on how to quit. All right? You can even listen to your subconscious and negotiate. And, get in there like a bargain, a barter, and say, look, if you quit smoking, we'll save up for a great vacation. Yeah? And that only works when you can get into the subconscious and have that conversation. So, a lot of the mental health exercises that we do in the office in session tie into this concept um, of symbolism in the subconscious. The first one, of course, that comes to mind is that guided meditation that every therapist loves to put their clients through. Oh, imagine you're on a lovely, safe space beach or on a cold mountaintop looking down. Those are all conversations with your subconscious, and therapists get really good at it, especially those of us who like to um, dig into the deeper feelings that people get. But it's straight up symbolic magic, right? You imagine that you are standing on the top of a mountain and looking down at the city. You get this powerful feeling. You're just sitting in a chair, but if you imagine that you're on that mountaintop, it really changes the way you feel. Um, and cognitive behavioral therapy is full of conversations with the subconscious, right? That's kind of what it's about. Um, Acceptance and commitment therapy has this routine where you um, step outside yourself and you look at your thoughts as an opposite, as a removed thing from where you really are. And so with those exercises, with those routines, um, we find that basically therapists are getting into the magical realms and messing around with the symbolism in the subconscious to get the same results that you would get doing ceremonial magic. So, when you get into this need to communicate with your subconscious, here's a couple of things that really do work. Um, one of my favorites is to simply open your mind, get a blank piece of paper and a pen, and just start writing whatever comes up stream of consciousness. After a few minutes of that, now it's not going to come out right away, but a few minutes of stream of consciousness, even if you're writing silly things like, I think this is silly, why am I doing this? What happens is your subconscious starts going, oh, I can get into this act. And it begins to throw things at you. So it's not going to throw words at you. It's going to throw ideas and symbols and thoughts. Your rational mind is going to have to interpret those. Another one that I really like is mirror gazing. And mirror gazing is where you find yourself a mirror, and don't do this with a camera. It really doesn't have the same effect. But what you want to do is you want to start your gaze at the top up here, and you want to go in a nice, a nice circle like this, a spiral, until you wind up looking at your own eyes. When you get to that point, by that point your mind has relaxed and your subconscious has taken in all the symbols of the room around you before you ever get to the point where you're looking yourself in the eye. That will probably bring up both feelings and some internal rhetoric. Um, Another great magical practice for getting into the subconscious is drawing a picture of what you think your problem is, right? Like, if you have a procrastination problem, you draw a big old procrastination monster. And you don't have to be a great artist to draw a monster, right? Monsters don't have to look like anything but monsters. And once you get your procrastination monster on a page and you've put a lot of time and energy and effort into it, you can rip it up again. And as you rip up that procrastination monster, you are internally symbolizing to your subconscious that it's time to stop the procrastination. Speaking of which, I think that's enough for this video, and we're going to call it to a close. I hope it was helpful and useful. And our next one, we will probably be talking about more magical methods of getting into your mental health. All right. Have a great time, and we'll talk later.